Hey everyone! I'm Albert Boris. So, the Mario Kart World Direct was a whole bunch of nothing. I mean, okay, it wasn't bad, but it certainly didn't justify the $80 price tag, since just about nothing new was shown. However, one of the things that were confirmed finally was Battle Mode, hallelujah! Or well, it looks pretty bare bones. There's only balloon battle and coin runners, and some of the normal racetracks or battle courses. Again. But on the bright side, at least they seem to have been properly transformed into actual battle arenas, having been made more open and without off-road slowing you down. Also, Big Donut looks so good. So yeah, while I don't think Battle Mode looks amazing in this game, I'm interested to see how it's gonna turn out here. And this all got me thinking back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Because while people don't care about it as much now, at one point, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's selling point was the Battle Mode. It was pretty much all that marketing was focused on, and in fact, it was even my only reason for getting this port, over 1.5 years after its release. And I mean, it's not so hard to see why. Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U had probably the worst battle mode in the entire series. The best I could say about it is that Balloon Battle was elimination based, and that's where the compliments end. Not only was this the only mode available, but the stages took place on actual race courses, and I don't think I need to explain why that was a bad idea, do I?
Yes.
So when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe completely revamped this, I was hyped. Because not enough that there were 5 different variants of battle mode in this game, including the fan favorites from Double Dash like Shine Thief and Bob-omb Blast, but the battle stages were, let's just say, amazing. They had so much depth compared to not just what we had immediately before, but even compared to all other preceding games, besides Mario Kart Wii, but that game instead ruined battle mode with forced teams, so I digress. But yeah, honestly though, I'll even go as far as to say that I enjoy battle mode in 8 Deluxe more than regular racing, just because I appreciate the higher level of gameplay variety and chaos. And so today I wanted to go on a little nostalgia trip and look back at these 8 battle stages to rank them from worst to best.
And the Wii U stages too, right?
No! Never! But before we start, make sure to also hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel and enjoy my videos, as it will really help me out and incentive me to make more videos more often. And with all that being said, I say, let's begin now. And we're already starting things hot. In my opinion, the only battle stage that I don't really like at all in this game is the dreadfully claustrophobic Urchin Underpass. Because despite the name, there's not a single urchin in sight. Okay, but yeah, sorry, but I did not enjoy my time at all here. I understand that a lot of people have taken a fondling to this one due to being a crossover with Splatoon. Personally, I've never played a Splatoon game in my life, so I don't really have a connection to it, but while there's definitely love and care put into this one, my god is it obnoxious. For me, the most important thing about a battle stage is that it should be easy to navigate and learn the layout, to make strategizing more efficient. Is this the only one that didn't get the memo? The whole layout is tight and cramped up, making drifting around it unsatisfying, and there are virtually no open areas at all either, where you can go crazy on everyone. Although that's not even the worst part, because to make it more frustrating, it's pretty much impossible to see where anywhere is due to how many walls there are that block your sight. And granted, this wouldn't be too awful, except there's also so many different paths to take, and knowing where any of them are isn't exactly obvious because of this. Maybe if you play the stage 100 times you'll learn the layout down to muscle memory, but I shouldn't have to do that. And as a result, all of these factors make this stage a nightmare to battle on personally. Whenever I play it as a result, I usually just go wherever I feel like, not knowing where it will lead me or if it's even where I should be going. Maybe in a shooter game this kind of layout makes sense since the tight corridors and walls allow you to take cover and surprise your opponents, but in Mario Kart where you're almost always on the move, the lack of space is more frustrating than it's not. Surprisingly, this used to actually be my second favorite battle stage when the game first came out, due to enjoying the exploration aspect of it. And while I suppose I can kinda see that, since not knowing where everything is makes it a bit exciting on the first playthrough, other stages do it way better without being confusing. The best I can say about this stage is that the unique item roulette jingle and coin designs are cute enough, and not taking Splatoon into consideration, the setting is pretty unique, taking on a rugged suburb kind of area. But overall, I'm not too big on this one, so it's gonna stay in high D tier. Next at number 7, Battle Stadium is kind of the starter arena of the game, with the aesthetics even directly being ripped from Mario Kart Stadium. As a result, this is probably the most visually generic stage of the game, although despite that, it's not as bland or underwhelming as you'd think it would be. I kind of like it actually. It's big, with lots of ramps and split roads, but not to the point that you'll get lost, which is already a step up from the last one. Although the main attraction is no doubt this anti-gravity path in the middle of the stage. It's visually not only a nice change from the rest of the arena, without twists all around and lets you see areas you normally wouldn't see, but the fact that you can also trick off the top of it to surprise people down on the main area is always super fun. That is, whenever there actually is someone there. See, this arena is still not that good. The fact that it's so big makes it kinda hard to find people at times, and even worse, the fact that the layout is pretty much all just long and narrow roads, reminiscent of an actual racetrack, does make it noticeably boring at times, with yet again no open areas in the slightest. They still did a decent job considering all of this, but safe to say, it's not as chaotic or interesting as any other map, so I'm putting it in C tier. At number 6, Sweet Sweet Kingdom on the other hand has kind of the opposite problem to Battle Stadium. It's too small and chaotic. Or okay, maybe nitpick is the more accurate term to use, because it's not that bad. Sweet Sweet Kingdom, despite being leagues the smallest arena in the game, definitely still manages to create an exciting layout, because while you first and foremost have this big open area, there's also numerous split paths outside of them, including not only this obscured tunnel area, but also a staircase that leads to a ramp, from which you can just bombard the main plaza. And I love that. I know I said the smaller size was a bit of a nitpick, but what makes the stage less interesting than some of the other ones on the list, it's not exactly a flaw, and it still gives this arena its own purpose, as a more chaotic alternative if you just want to see everything burn. It's certainly more than I can say for these two, and while other maps definitely offer more rich gameplay, I can't in good conscience say that I don't like this one. Actually, I think what I really like the least about this one is the visuals, as I've never really liked Sweets in real life personally, plus the color scheme is a little too bright. But I still think the aesthetic is pretty creative, so overall I think a very high C tier score would be sufficient enough for this stage. SNES Battle Course 1, the first retro stage on the list, opens up what I'd like to call the actually really good arenas of the game. From this point on, I like all the stages quite a bit, and while this one is really basic on the surface, and in execution it kind of still is, there's also a shocking amount of depth to it surprisingly. It's pretty much what you'd expect from a perfectly good battle arena at first. You know, there's the big open center, as well as the numerous split paths you can alternate between, but there's also these ramps located outside a square, which you can take to surprise foes in the middle, and one of them even has a glider ramp, which is so satisfying to just rain down items from, especially in Baba Blast. And you can even drive on top of the walls that separate the split paths, which can serve as both as a way to get away from opponents, but also to have the high ground when trying to hit others. And the feather item is especially useful on this map, as it allows you to switch between paths on a whim, and in the best case scenario, it can also give you an advantage over people who do camp on the walls. Really, it's a surprisingly engaging arena, and the visuals also perfectly capture the SNES charm, while still giving the track a modern look. The reason it's still on number 5 though is because yet again, as amazing of a job as they did with this glow up, it doesn't change that it's still a fairly generic stage, and other ones are simply just more interesting while still also being dynamic. So, B tier. Opening up the top half of the list, we have the ever so mythical Dragon Palace, and oh my do I have to talk about the atmosphere in this one. Like the other Nitro stages, this one's also based on a race course, this time Dragon Driftway, but oh my is it so much more vibrant in its colors and set pieces, with ancient Chinese temple aesthetic. Gameplay wise, Dragon Driftway is probably the stage that brings out the most of my competitive side, so it's pretty much comprised of two big open areas, the temple itself here, as well as the courtyard outside of it, and both of them allow for insane chaos to ensue, with minimal obstacles in the way. And you might think this sounds boring with not much going on at first, and admittedly, it did run the risk of being so, but oh my do the split paths add wonders in making it more exciting. To travel between the two open areas, you could on one hand take the front doors like a normal person, but if you're like me, you could also instead take these pathways leading up and surprise everyone down below. And this goes both ways too, because the inside of the palace also has its own set of stairs, from which you can surprise people in the courtyard. And this way, Dragon Palace is kind of a way more interesting version of Sweet Sweet Kingdom, which also kind of had this, but to a far tinier extent. And couple all of this with a badass soundtrack with all the battle hurrahs, and you've got a wonderfully stunning and competitive arena, which always keeps me on my toes. So without a doubt, I'm gonna have to give this one an A tier. However, that finally brings us to the top 3 of this ranking, and these are the ones that really give the battle mode in this game a run for its money. They're all incredibly dynamic with interesting designs and themes, so no matter what mood I'm in, I'm never gonna pass up an opportunity to play on them.
Wait, haven't you forgotten about something?
What is it?
Well, you still haven't talked about the Wii U battle stages yet. What did they ever do to you?
Oh, for f***'s sake. Okay, fine, I will talk about them, as long as you stay quiet after this. Well, let's get started. Number 16 is Toad's Turnpike, way too f***ing big. You barely ever see anyone, and the cars are more of an annoyance than anything. Number 15, Mario Circuit. It's just boring and monotonous, as you just keep looping around it over and over again. Number 14, Sherbet Land. Too many dead ends in the water, from which if you fall down into, you're gonna have to waste several seconds trying to get out, which is just annoying, although at least there's some open areas, I guess. Number 13 is Donut Plains Free, way too narrow. Again, all you can do is keeping on looping it and hoping you drive into someone you can snipe, although I like the visuals. Number 12, Toad Harbor. I've got literally nothing to say about it. It doesn't have as many game-breaking flaws as the previous ones, but it's also got nothing good about it either. Number 11 is Yoshi Valley. The fact that it already has multiple split paths on the get-go is pretty nice, but again, it's too large and there's no reason to be on the outskirts. Plus, these turns are very clearly not made to just be switched between on a whim, with how sharp some of them are. Number 10, Moo Moo Meadows. I mean, it has nice vibes, I guess, and one open area, but that's not saying much. And finally, at number 9 is Dry Dry Desert, the only one that almost actually works. The fact that it's got not one but two decently sized open areas does give it quite a bit more flair than the rest, especially the quicksand area, which also has an element of danger. Plus the track itself is short enough that if you decide to loop around it, it's not gonna take too much time until you get back to the main points of interest. In fact, sometimes it even feels like a more bearable version of Twomp Desert. Oh my god, did I just say that? But yeah, that's the Wii U stage ranking. All of them are in F tier except Dry Dry Desert. Now, can we please get back? Opening up the top 3, we have what used to actually be my favorite arena in the game for the longest time, Lunar Colony. I will never forget the moment when I first played this stage. I mean, come on, you're battling it out on the moon, right next to a base, while the Earth is looming over the sky. It's quite possibly the most epic and climactic setting you could have for a battle stage, and that's if the music didn't already fill me with determination. Because of the lunar theming, this is also the only stage to be set entirely in anti-gravity, and my god, am I not exaggerating when saying this. But tricking off the craters and ramps and watching your characters float through the air makes me feel like a god over the moon, slowing down time at my own will. And while that may sound a bit hyperbole, that's exactly how I felt when I first got this game. When I play this track, I don't even care if I win or lose, because the execution is just that satisfying. But is it as developed or intricate as the best stages of this game? Well, I suppose not. From what I can gather, this is one of the most despised arenas of the game, precisely because the flow-through physics makes it harder and less responsive. And I mean, I guess I can kind of see it. For me, I don't care personally because it just feels so good, but at the same time, I also admitted that I don't take battling all that seriously on here, so who am I to judge? And I guess the layout, while nowhere near bad, is a little empty. And while writing the sections for the top 2 tracks in the game, I realized that I do actually think they're better overall, with more nuance to them. I still love Lunar Colony and would comfortably put it in low S tier, but I can't let my bias completely override my ranking. And this one still isn't exactly fault-free. At number 2, we have the fabled GCN Luigi's Mansion, and already we're at the stages which I would personally consider to be near perfect. The thing about Luigi's Mansion is that it kind of has everything I'd want out of a stage. There are 3 different floors to it, and all of them serve their purpose well, as there's the big open area in the middle, some skinny pathways in the basement where you can surprise oncoming folks, as well as a balcony, from which you can just drop down and bombard the main floor. So yeah, in other words, it doesn't miss out on anything, and to top it off, while the atmosphere isn't exactly scary, it's still definitely dangerous and mysterious in its own right, with a magnificently energetic remix of DS Luigi's Mansion playing. Shine Thief is especially a fitting game mode for this stage, with all the different ways there are to ambush your opponents. So you might definitely wonder now why this isn't number 1. And well, if I had to come up with something, it's that while this is an incredibly consistent battle stage, none of the areas stand out as much as they could have. There's only 2 pathways in the basement at best, there's usually no one on the rooftops, making going there a bit of a time waste, and the open plaza has no obstacles at all. Is that a bad thing? No, not at all. It's still an amazing stage, and the way all these floors combine everything essential can't be understated enough. And while they could have more things going on, it definitely doesn't need to. It's just that my favorite stage even perfects this aspect. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite battle stage in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is 3DS Woohoo Town. Okay, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. This stage is actually perfect in my eyes. And I'm not even saying that because I have nostalgia for Wii Sports Resort or anything. Actually, I've never played a Wii Sports game in my life, and yet despite that, I think the vibes on this one are unmatched. The coastal town setting is incredibly vibrant and energetic, with tons of detailing everywhere. And the music almost has this odd sense of finality to it, being both chaotic but also incredibly beautiful, which always puts a tear to my eye. And gameplay-wise, wow. It pretty much takes what I love in Luigi's Mansion, but perfects it to a T. There's still an open plaza, but this time with a fountain to trick out from to make things more engaging. And there's also an uphill area from which you can overlook the square. And while you can still bombard the main plaza from it, it's also big enough that you can still end up in a regular battle with someone here too, giving it more than just one purpose. And the town area has so many split paths to pick from. There's enough to always keep it exciting, with even a grass shortcut and fun basketball court section, but not too much that I get lost, and there's always enough visual cues that I always know which direction the main plaza is in, much unlike an urchin underpass, where everything is narrow and closed off. Renegade Roundup is especially a fitting mode for this stage, as all the different streets you can drive through really makes it feel like a high-thrill police chase, where you're constantly trying to outsmart your opponents. Surprisingly, I didn't really like the original version of this stage in Mario Kart 7 that much, although actually perhaps it wasn't that surprising. The night theme, lamer music choice, and fewer number of players made it come across as kind of barren and empty, and that's not to mention how some areas like the basketball court were also completely closed off, making the remake feel like the definitive version of the stage. Without a doubt though, 3DS Woohoo Town is easily my favorite battle course in the game, if not of all time too. And with that wraps up my full ranking of every battle stage in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, including the original Wii U tracks. Seriously, they will never not be awful, but oh man was this a fun video to make nevertheless. I had a huge rush of nostalgia playing through these gems again, and hopefully you all enjoyed watching this ranking unfold. Most people don't really tend to make much notice of battle mode anymore in Mario Kart, which I've always thought was sad, because if done right, it can often be even more skillful and interesting than regular racing, which is why I wanted to shine some light on a topic that not even I often talk about. Maybe it won't do well, seeing as my Wii stage ranking also didn't get too many views, but honestly I don't even care. In either case, what is your ranking of the battle stages in this game? Did you agree with me or not? Let me know all of this in the comment section down below, and if you had fun watching this ranking, then make sure to also like and subscribe to my channel, as I make videos on everything Mario related, and follow me on my Discord server, Greenpipe City, as well as on Twitter and Patreon for more updates. And I'll see you all soon. Until next time.